Okay, so we just went through how to use triggers to call a play event for an animation, or a pause or a stop event for an animation. And now we're going to talk about how we can use a clickable mesh as a way to trigger an animation. For our purposes right now, I'm actually going to animate our makeshift skybox, and I'm going to change its scale to almost 0. And when we do this, it's going to reveal the skybox that's hidden behind this one. Most of our materials in this world are background materials, and they're not going to accept light. So our actual lighting that we get from this environment file shouldn't affect the look and feel of the scene that much, but it will for some of the materials that are not straight background textures. That's something to keep in mind. So I've already added an environment texture to my export directory. And what we're going to do in order to make an effect where we can see this is the first thing we need to do is actually put an animation on our skybox, right? So let's animate it in its position it currently is right now at keyframe 0. Boom, done. There we go. Now let's make it a literal 1-frame animation, because we don't want to see this transition between this skybox and the one that's behind it. We just want us to snap really small in 1 frame. So on the first frame, we're going to scale this down by 0.0001. And let's see where it is. It is now underneath the apple, where nobody will be able to see. So we can even scale it down a teeny bit more. So scale 0.1. Yeah, so that was really, 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 really small. And let's go ahead and add that keyframe. So we can call this paint skybox shrink. And that's going to be the name of our animation. We go back to 1, boom. It's going to just completely shrink away. We need a way to call this animation, right? What we can't do is just add this in Blender and hope that it works nowhere. Just like we did with the triggers, we need to tell the system to play this animation at a certain time. In our case right now, we're going to add this to a clickable mesh as a trigger. As a little Easter egg, maybe we should add it to the stem of this apple, right? So this apple stem right here is just a mesh. It's just a standard mesh. And when you click it and you go into your nowhere settings, you're going to see that underneath the geometry tab, you see an animation chain sections and steps. This is where we can start adding in some logic, and we can add in control mechanisms for how to control this animation that we just made. So we'll make this stem right here actually toggle the skybox on and off. And that will just be a little hidden fun Easter egg that we can have in this world. So what we're going to do next is click on the animation chain steps and add a step. On our first step, which will be the first click, we're going to add an action. That action is going to be paint skybox shrink. So on the first time the user clicks this, it's going to shrink the skybox and reveal their HDRI or environment file behind it. We'll have to play forward and play, not pause or stop. And then we're going to add the second step. And the second step will be happening on the second click. So if we add another action, it'll be the same action, paint skybox shrink, but we're going to play it in reverse. That way it'll get big again. So this now mesh is going to act as a toggle, flicking on and off the skybox and this sphere. And in reality, it's not turning on and off, it's just scaling up an animation, or scaling up the mesh and scaling down the mesh using an animation. So we're going to give this an export. And we're going to see how that ends up looking. So export GLTF. Nice and easy. Got to transfer it over to my world directory folder, just so we can have all of our added features. And we can refresh this page and give it a look, and we can see how this is going to work inside Nowhere. And we should see a pretty cool skybox switch. So currently we have our normal looking skybox. We jump on top of this orange, or apple. Is that an orange? It's an apple. And we go ahead and just click this. You can see our whole skybox has now changed and it's gone away. And if we click it again, we'll come back and we can keep toggling back and forth our skybox using this newly created button that we just added. You can add triggers to any mesh and it becomes clickable. It can be transparent. It really doesn't matter. Any mesh you can add a clickable trigger to and it will become, working. It will trigger these animations for you. Yeah, there's a lot more you can do with this chained animation system, but we'll go into that with some more detail within the chained animation video. Everything's working pretty spot on for our clickable meshes right now, so you can add as many steps and actions in those steps as you want, and it will trigger those animations on consecutive clicks. One thing to note right now is once you get to the end of the chain and you click it again, it will restart that chain, but eventually we'll have a option to not restart the chain. Things are going to be added over time to give you some more customizable features and add some more basically logic to your scenes. But for now, you can use what's currently in here, and all the settings for the clickable meshes triggered animation chains work.